Hi friends, and welcome to Decorate Your Life. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a 12-page cover-to-cover paper bag mini album tutorial. Yes, you asked for it. Here it is. And I've decided to give away this 12-page paper bag mini album to one lucky subscriber. The winner will be chosen at random. I will choose the winner from the comments left in last week's video titled 10-page paper bag mini album. I will do the drawing at the very end of this tutorial, so you are more than welcome to fast forward and see if you are the lucky winner. And yes, this is a lengthy tutorial. It took me a course of several days to create this paper bag mini album, and I hope that whoever wins this enjoys it just as much as I have enjoyed creating it for him or her. And by all means, please add this video to your personal playlist so that you may reference to it at a later time when you're ready to make one of these 12-page mini albums. I can't begin to tell you how overwhelmed I am by your love and your encouragement, that this is just a small way for me to say thank you to all of you by holding these giveaways. In the near future, I plan to do more giveaways based on comments left in my videos as well as in my blogs. I thank you all so very much. today we're going to be doing a 10-page paper bag mini album, just like the one I had showcased earlier in my videos. And since many of you requested for a tutorial for this paper bag mini album, I am going to go ahead and replicate the process that I've done on here. And the papers that I will be using are from DCWV. Meet Me in Paris. These are amazingly beautiful papers. Just to give you a quick run through, I just love this paper stack, and as you can see, I have already used it in a previous project, but there is plenty of paper for me to have to go through for my mini album. And what I am going to do as well is I'm going to go ahead and hold a giveaway for the mini album that I'll be producing out of here, and I hope that this album turns out just as beautifully as this one. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Now, this vertical mini album is made out of paper bags, and in case you're curious where I get my paper bags, I get them at Michael's. They are from the Celebrated line, and this goes for under a couple of dollars. Sometimes you find them on sale for 99 cents. I believe I get mine for 99 cents, and you get 12 paper bags per bag, and I got myself a whole bunch of these because I just love making these. So just to give you the stats on this paper bag mini album, it's going to, your mini album is pretty much going to measure the size of your paper bag minus some, whatever part over here that you decide to cut. Excuse me. Mine, for example, will measure 7 inches tall by approximately 4 3/4 inches across. So we are going to be using 10 paper bags out of these, and you can actually do your mini album as wide or include as many paper bags as you wish. The only thing about it is that the binding system that I have for this 10-page mini album uses only one 12 by 12 piece of cardstock. You can make it wider. You would just have to incorporate a way to make your binding system a lot wider. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I think somewhere along Kathy Order's video tutorials, she has a way for you to make it expandable, or for you to expand the binding system that she teaches. Anyways, Miss Kathy Order, hi Kathy, if you're watching. Miss Kathy Order is the proprietor of the Hit and Hinge binding system, and as a matter of fact, I believe she has a trademark on it. So I am going to show you the Kathy Order binding system, except in order for me to fit all 10 pages, I did do something a little bit different, but like I said, I am not attempting to redesign her binding system. I'm not attempting to teach you her binding system. I'm just going to show you how I used Kathy's binding system in a way to fit my binding needs, okay? So I guess that's a little bit of a disclaimer for you. Okay, the first thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you the binding system, how I did Kathy Order's binding system. So first things first, I want to choose a piece of cardstock that, and you know what, I'm going to choose this one. That's going to be my binding because the colors are so vibrant that they just they pop out at you. So I'm going to use this, and because my pages, my paper bags are going to be 7 inches in height, I am going to cut my cardstock for my binding system to 6 3/4. And ladies, excuse my nails. I was experimenting and then I decided I hate it the way it looks, so I didn't finish. And y'all know, I'm a paper crafter. I'm not a beauty guru. let's see, I said 6 3/4, so we are going to cut to 6 3/4. Alrighty, here we go. First cut. Okay. Now, if you haven't watched Kathy Orta's Hidden Hinge binding system, I will go ahead and link her original video to this video, either up there or somewhere down below. And Miss Kathy does a system in which she scores. First, she leaves out something like 1.5 inches or 1 inch or something like that on either end, and then she goes half, half, a quarter, half, half, a quarter, half, half, a quarter. Well, and this was through trial and error. I had forgotten about the full inch or 1.5 inches that she leaves at either end, and I just started doing my half, half, quarter, half, half, quarter, and that is how I got to incorporate so many pages into my binding system. So let's go ahead and do that. We have 1/2, and then 1/2, and then a quarter. And now from this quarter, we're going to measure another half. So now we have 1/2, and 1/2, and now a quarter. And from here, we go 1/2, 1/2, and now a quarter. And for the very last one, from here to here, we are going to do 1/2. Okay, and it's going to leave us with not necessarily a half, it's going to leave us with a quarter, but it's okay. Don't worry about that. You can still use this last hinge to add your back page. So now we have our, I know that it is difficult for y'all to see all the marks that I have made, but basically with the Kathy Orta binding system, what we're dealing is peaks and valleys. Your first half, you are going to do your peak. And now over here, you're going to do your valley. And you are going to do that. Let's see, here's another, excuse me, valley. And over here, we have our 1/2. And over here we have our 1/4. And let's see, over here we have another half. Sorry about my throat, ladies. Over here we have another one of these. And gentlemen, my husband just reminded me, and gentlemen, so now we have this other one, and this just takes a little bit of patience, friends, and just follow the score lines. Okay, friends, so here we are with our peaks and valleys, and just to show you, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. That's the Hidden Hinge binding system for your 10 pages. This is pretty much 90% of that tutorial that I promised to do for you. Now, at the very end, remember how we only had a tiny little strip, like maybe 1/4 inch left at the very end, and I said, don't worry about it? That's right, you don't need to worry about it, because this part is going to be hidden, and as long as you attach this, you adhere this to this, like so, you still have a hinge to attach your paper bag page to. So the next thing that we are going to do is, you already have your papers, and you can flatten them out with a bone folder if you wish. You could do that at this time. I wait till later to do it, and it's pretty much personal preference, my friends. I mean, let's see, Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use the red tape. I bought myself 2 sizes of the red tape. It is double-sided tape, and I'm going to use the skinny one on the inside. And let's go ahead and get rid of this and get my trusty scissors. And let's start putting this together, shall we? Okay. Woo! Let's put this together. I'm going to just, there we go. There we go, that's one. This one's going to go over like this, and then this one's going to go over here. This one's going to go over here. And that is 10. Here we go. You now have a almost 2 3/4 of a bind. It's not so huge. You have a quarter gusset in between each one of the pages, and you will be able to do a 10-page mini album cover to cover. Okay, so I have my 10 pages, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these down to 7 inches. You can do them smaller if you wish. It's just personal preference. And remember, if you are to cut these smaller, you're going to have to cut this smaller. Okay? So that's one. Now, the next thing that we are going to do is we're going to check the direction of our mini album. And let me show you. This is something that I didn't point out in my last mini album video. I made a couple of mistakes here, and that was in the direction of my pages. You know, it's like can't chew gum and talk at the same time type of thing. But, okay, my intention with this book, if you look at it closely, I wanted to have a matting thing here, obviously like I do here and over here, just to dress up the pocket. This is the natural pocket that we're going to make with this. And I messed up in a couple of places. See? Where I, excuse me, where I had to leave it pocket to pocket. That's just me messing up. And when you do pocket to pocket, I didn't have enough room here to put my pearls over here as well. I messed up there. And see, this should have been flipped the other way. And I also messed up over here. But I didn't point that out. Shh, don't tell. So the first thing that I recommend that you do is check your orientation, your paper bag orientation. Make sure that all the tops are at the top and that all the bottoms are at the bottom. It's kind of like when you go shopping for shoes, you know, before you put your shoes in the box, you got to make sure you have a left and a right. And let me tell you, I have walked away with 2 left shoes in the past. Or you got to ensure that both sizes match, okay? So yeah, it's kind of like that with here. So we are going to make sure that the direction is fine, that everybody is facing the same way you want them to face, like so, with the exception of the last page. Because the last page is your cover, and obviously your back cover, you don't want anything unless you actually do want a pocket peering out of your back cover. That's your prerogative. It's whatever fits your needs. But for me, I needed it to go here. So I guess this wasn't a mistake. Oh well, let's just put that one to the side. So this page is going to go like that. So now that I have my directions, then I can move on to gluing this together. Okay friends, so let me show you what I have done so far. I have cut and added the papers to each and every single one of the bags. I have also matted the inserts that go right along here. Now, let me give you a quick look-see on what everything looks like. The papers, as you can see, are absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And that's the back cover. Now, to give you some of the measurements that I'm using, now remember, this is, if you get that same bag that I purchased from Michael's, this is what those measurements are for. So, the entire bag measures 7 by 4 3/4. Remember, I cut it down to 7 because I didn't want it to sit too long. Now, this top paper over here measures 4 1/8 by 4 1/8 by 4 5/8. That's this part right here. This part right here measures 4 5/8 by 2 5/8. This right here, this insert, not insert, what do you call it? The photo mat measures 3 7/8 by 4 5/8. And to create this is double layering, double paper. I cut this paper right along here, and that was 1/8 less than my measurements here, and then I mounted the cards to them. Let me show you. See, I mounted the paper. Now in some of these and this was because of a mistake, so I just went with a pattern here. Some of these are going to have these corners chopped out, and for that I use just a regular circle punch. And you've seen me use this before. You just basically go in and just snip a tiny little corner. So it's going to be a page with the circle punch and a page without, and one with and one without, and so forth. It goes. I made a pattern out of that because I had messed up in a couple. I had already glued it down before I made the... So anyways, it's okay. So we have all these put together, okay? And that's as far as I'm going to go. I decorate my book after it's been included in the binding system. So this is our binding system that we have created. And now what I did was I laid it down on my mat, and I took the measurements, and I like precise measurements, and this measures 7 by 2 3/4. So I know that my spine, this is going to be made out of chipboard, hear that? My spine is going to be the measurement that I measured for this, okay? Okay, to build my spine, I like using this chipboard from Michaels. I get my chipboard from Recollections, and it really doesn't cost that much. I think this goes for under $6 or $5, and you can always, I forget if Recollections is for Michaels or Hobby Lobby, but anyways, my point is you can always use your coupons and you can get it at half off or 40% off or whatever, but these don't cost that much, and even though they're made for the 12 by 12 large albums, I like to buy them big because I never know what size I'm going to be using, and you get 16 pieces to a bag, and I think that's a really great deal. This is the only paper cutter that I own. I would love to have a guillotine, but I don't. When you're cutting your chipboard, it's really going to do a job on your blade. So I always, in any project, I always try to leave my cutting to the very end. I try to cut each and every single piece of paper that I can beforehand, because this is just going to tear up my blade, and if I try to reuse my blade, it's only going to tear up my paper and it's going to look really bad. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to position it, let's see, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm going to need to cut it at 2 3/4. And like I said, these are my measurements. Your measurements may be slightly different. And basically, you know, you're going to set this to your ruler or whatever measuring device that you have, and you're going to jot down your very own numbers. So let's go ahead. And do that. I need to get me a guillotine, but first I need more space before I do that. Okay. I might need to mark it here for a second. Sorry about that. Let me mark that down because I really cannot see where I'm cutting. Okay. So now I know it's there, and it's there, and there we go. Whoops. Okay. So that was 2 3/4, and now I gotta cut the other part by 7. Okay. So now that I have this cut, when I put this down, you're going to see that it's the exact measurement. Okay, so to cover up the spine, I've decided to use this beautiful paper from the collection, and because the binding is 2 3/4 by 7, I'm going to need to cut 4 3/4 by 9 for the spine. So here is our piece for our spine, and the next thing that we are going to do, and I like to do this, let's see, I'm constantly using my mat for everything. Okay, that's 1 inch, right about there. Okay, so we are approximately 1 inch. Okay, and what I like to do here is I kind of like to score it some. It helps me fold the paper better. And you could do this after you apply your tape, but I like to do this beforehand because then I get a guide. Plus it helps me break some of the fibers from the paper. So here we go. So, and like so. Okay. So now that we have that, see, this is kind of like a rectangle that we have formed, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to kind of like cut angles so that way it is easier to adhere it to the paper. You don't want to cut it right at the where the perpendicular lines meet. You want to go outside of it. And this is a part where I'm going to use my strong double adhesive.
Puerto Rico, esta bomba yo la dedico a toda mi gente de Puerto Rico, a la familia Fontanet, allá en Cupe Alto y Lo Mejía en Vega Baja, que gocen. ¡Sí! Bomba, bomba, para siempre. Bomba, bomba está presente, aquí lo canta mi gente. Bomba, bomba, para siempre. Baila, baila y goza, mi bomba puertorriqueña. Bomba, 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 para siempre.
Okay, so here we are. Here is the spine, and here's the binding system. What we are going to do is we are going to adhere this right onto here. Okay, that's all there's to it. And then we're going to add our pages. That is all. Now, before I do that, let's see, I can't tell if I'm holding it top to bottom. Okay, this was the pass. I think I'm going to hold it like this. Okay, now before I do that, because you know how at this end we have kind of like an angle over here, and obviously we're not going to be able to put it all the way to the angle. See? What we're going to do for each one of these bottom pieces is we're just going to kind of like cut at an angle. Just like that. Each one of these just cut at an angle. You're not compromising the integrity of the binding system. You're only going to be helping the pages along. Okay. And let me just test it. Yeah. Okay, so let me tell you, before I start gluing everything on here, let me give you a couple of tips that I have learned and that I have seen other crafting women do. When you adhere, excuse me, woo, when you adhere your page or your paper bag to your binding system, try not to adhere it all the way to the very end, because when you adhere it all the way to that edge, then you're not going to have that much leeway, okay? Try to bring it, and I know it's a difficult thing, it's difficult for me to do, try to bring it to like right about there, alrighty? To right about there. Not all the way down, and it's difficult. It's a very difficult thing for me to do. See, these, although I did try to adhere it outside of that edge, I guess it's because it's 10 pages, it still doesn't open all the way up like I would want it to, I would literally have to open it up with my hand, as you see here. So what I'm going to try to do on here is to put this not all the way, to bring this not all the way to the edge, but you know, that's the tip that many of the crafters give you, and I have tried, but sometimes I just cannot do. So, but we're going to try, and that's what I want you to know before you start adhering your pages. Because the thing is, you have to ensure not only that you put these in the correct way, but also that they all line up. Because if they don't line up, if they're wonky, if the first page is wonky or the second page is wonky, your whole book is going to be wonky. And then all that work for what? So as I'm speaking to you right here and now, I'm trying to decide what would be the best way for me to do this. Should I put this on here first and then try my pages? Or put my pages on here first? You know what? I need stability. I need a good stability. So I'm going to go ahead and put the binding system, adhere the binding system to the spine before I deal with my pages. Now, okay. I'm going to need to peel this off. Okay, and I have this one spot right down the middle that I need to apply my glue to. There we go. I'm using my scoring tool. Now, this is made in such a way, this paper is designed in such a way that the top equals the bottom, so I'm not going to worry about it so much. Alrighty, I know that my cut pieces are the bottom, so here comes the moment of truth. We should have a drum roll, please. Let me put this over here where it's more centered. Okay, because I only have one chance to do this. Alrighty. Let me come down a little bit because I need to see what I'm doing. Okay. And I'm sorry if my big head gets in the way. Let me make sure that we are straight. We're straight. We are straight as straight can be. Okay, Sandy, you can do this. You got this. You got this, girlfriend. My hands are shaking. Oh, yes, I did it. I did it. I did it. Okay, let's go ahead and follow these back and forth. I move my head back and forth. I move my head back and forth. Alrighty. Okay. Have one here, one there. One there, one there. Yay. I'm just ensuring everything is glued down nice and pretty. I love it. I love the way this came out. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Okay. Now I want to show you something. See, the same thing happened to me over here, but you can easily cover this up. There's a tiny little overhang. I mean, it's maybe 1/8 of an inch, if that. It's so tiny, but it doesn't matter, okay, because you can easily cover it up, alrighty? The same thing happened to me over here. It's maybe 1/4 of an inch, if that, okay, of an overhang. I'm not going to worry too much about it, alrighty? Because whatever I put over here will cover it up, okay? This is my front and this is my back. So now, what I'm going to do is, I am going to give my papers one last look as to how I want them to appear. Okay. Because we have design, flower, flower, city, and flower, flower, back cover. Okay. So this is how I want my pages. This is my back cover. What I am going to do, and this is how I did it the last time, I am going to apply my back cover first. First, I like to look at it, analyze it, see how it's going to appear. Okay. Alrighty. Now, for this part right here, friends, if you wish, you can do glue, if that is what you want to use, okay? Or you can use your strong double-sided tape. I side with double-sided tape, okay? Simply because I don't have the time, I don't have the patience, I don't have the necessary tools to hold each paper in place until the glue dries. I don't want to do that, okay? The only downside to using double-sided tape is that once it's there, and you'll only be able to take it out if by tearing it apart. However, there is a trick to that. You can always apply glue on top of the double-sided tape to give it some movement if you need to. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to be using my double-sided tape, and I'm not going to put it all the way down in here. I'm not going to apply it here. I'm going to apply it on the outer edge here and here. I'm not going to apply it all the way down here because that is not where I want my paper. I want my paper to be up here somewhere, okay? At least I'm going to try to get it that high up. Okay. All right. All right. Here we have our 10-page mini album. Now, if you're concerned about this part right here, see this part right here? It's a little bit uneven, okay, because I started, these 2 pages are in there too much. You can always add a chipboard page here and a chipboard page here if that is what you wish to do. See, these are all one level because I tuck these way in there, okay? And these I wanted to ensure that when you open up the album, you'll be able to really open up this album. Now, what I am going to do is, I think I am going to go ahead and build a chipboard cover here and another chipboard cover here, and I'm going to extend it to go out a little bit further, okay, so that the recipient will have something really, really great that he or she will be able to have for a very long time and enjoy it. The chipboard cover is going to serve 2 functions. Number 1, it's going to serve a more durable state of the mini album, and number 2, because of the way these are lining up, I am not 100% satisfied with the way these pages look here. So by adding these back and front covers, that will be able to remedy that aspect of the mini album, and we will no longer have these coming out here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and what I did was I cut 2 pieces of chipboard, 7 by 5 and 1/8, and then 2 pieces of matching paper to this. I cut these by 9 by 7 and 1/8, and I am going to cover these the same way that I covered this part over here, and then I will do something a little bit different. I have seen my friend Shelly Geigel from J&S Hobbies and Crafts do this for her outer covers. She will build this and this and this separately and just attach them with a piece right along there. Okay, so now for attaching the outer cover, I used a very simple method that I have seen other women do, and I've seen this before in my friend Shelly Geigel's videos. She does a lot of scrapbook tutorials, and this system works for her very well, and it's a system in which it keeps the covers to your mini albums very flexible, and I really truly do enjoy this system, and it's a very easy system to use, and it will stand the test of time. I mean, it's very sturdy because you're using good quality cardstock, okay, and at the same token you're using good quality double-sided tape, which is thick tape. It doesn't rip or anything like that. And we are going to, when decorating, we are going to be covering this part up anyways. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my cardstock and I'm going to cut it 7 in length by 2 inches in width. And then I'm going to score it right along the middle in a vertical part. this book together like so and just add this system right along there. And alrighty, easy peasy. That was so super easy to do. Yes. Let me make sure that we have our... Oh, I feel so much better now. So now the recipient is going to get a 10-page, or if you count the covers, a 12-page mini album cover to cover, and it's going to open up so much better than my previous one. Yay! I am so super excited. So the next thing that I gotta do then is I gotta put my die cut here, and I gotta make my text, and I gotta decorate it, and it's done. I am so excited. Okay, I'm gonna be using this photo frame from Happy Mail that I got. I think it's Brigitte Rajmakers that gave this to me in a Happy Mail. I forget, but thank you so very much. I will be using it to make somebody else happy. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to choose this picture. Go right inside that mark. Okay. So I have my picture ready. That's going to go to the side. I have these stickers from a Happy Mail package. So I'm going to be using this. that I have to do is, let me clean some of this up. Let's see. Okay. The last thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to take these and put them in place, and I'm also going to have to add the little flat back pearls on each one of those. Now, here's something that I'd like you to know, whoever wins this book, okay? It took me all day to cut these. I mean, I take my time when crafting, and it's okay. It's relaxing for me. Now, in the cutting of these, number one, I ran out of black cardstock, okay? And I just don't go shopping on the weekends. I work on my craft on the weekends, and I don't enjoy going to stores on the weekends. So, yeah, you're going to see this type of flat black cardstock, as you're also going to see a textured type of black cardstock. But you can't really tell the difference, okay? Another thing that you're going to see is this I'm taking from this book simply because I messed up on one of these, okay? And like I said, I ran out of black cardstock, so I'm giving you one of mine, okay? And I think it'll go fine. You can hardly tell that it doesn't belong with this collection. I mean, after all, it's all chic and shabby and whatever. But the one that I made the mistake on, okay, is this piece right here. Alrighty, you can barely tell over here where it ripped on me, alrighty, as I was running it through the paper cutter. So I'm including this in here. That way you could either use it if you wish, or you could toss it. It's up to you. And I made all of these, which are part of the paper collection, for the exception of this one, simply because I ran out of black cardstock. So, yeah, and over here, I forget if I mentioned it before, but while I was making these, I kind of like forgot that I was doing these, so then I started cutting them like this. See how I chunked off the corners? So what I did here was I did some with and some without. I alternated them, alrighty, and yeah, kind of like a pattern type of thing. So I just want you to know that that's what happened with these. It was just my oversight. I was trying to listen to the TV while I was cutting. So there we go. Let me put a different one in there. And like so, and this one's gonna go here. Let's put this one here, and let's put this one here, and let's put this one here. Oh, and by the way, this frame right here and this frame over here were gifted to me as well. So these came in Happy Mail. They came from my friend Julie Krabenhoft. She sent me a bunch of die cuts, and once again, because I had run out of the black cardstock, I decided to use the die cuts that Julie gifted me. So I don't know what company dies these are from. This you would have to ask her, and I guess I'll go ahead and leave a link to her channel in the description area below if you need to know where these two came from, so you could ask her yourself. And yeah, the next thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to take my flat back pearls, and I am going to use them on this book. Just glue them down, and each one of them will be inserted like so. And afterwards, I can't talk, afterwards, I will take pictures of this and do a final flip through, and then I will choose the winner at random through my tube tool, It's called Tube Tool. And yeah, we'll see who walks away with this. And it's been a pleasure creating this for one of my subscribers, and this is my way of thanking you for your continued support of my channel and my blog. And yeah, I hope to do more like these, more giveaways like these, because it'll be my mode of saying thank you to you all for your continued support. Yeah, I know I'm repeating myself. I'm tired. And yeah, I'll go ahead and get this up there, and I will also put pictures up on my blog. I hope that you visit my blog. I will also start choosing winners from the comments in my blog in the near future. So thank you all so very much for watching, and if you just happen to land on this video, please subscribe to my channel. If you're into paper crafting and just making pretty stuff, go ahead and sub to my channel. And yeah, I appreciate your thumbs up and your wonderful comments. I will see y'all again real soon.